guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. I'm Jenna, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. It's a big red one. And if you really enjoy this video, you can like, comment, and or hit the little bell notification down below, which basically lets you know anytime I post a new video. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So today I thought it'd be a really fun idea to try doing a story time, and I haven't done one of these before, but a couple of my friends mentioned it to me and they thought it'd be like an interesting idea, so I thought I'd try it out. So today I'm going to be talking about a field trip that I went on that resulted in me almost going to the hospital when I was in grade 4, so I was like around 10 or so. So basically what happened is my elementary school, I don't know if anybody else's elementary school did this, but mine always had these swimming lessons you take in grade 4 where you would have swimming lessons through a couple months, like every other week of the month you would go with your class to our local swimming pool and you would take little lessons, and basically we were doing this and we got separated into different groups. So we all got a different instructor, and my group finished early in the lessons that we were doing, so we were given a chance to do playtime kind of thing. And so the local pool that is around where I live has like diving boards, and they have a rope that you can swing on, and they have a slide. So my friends and I thought it'd be a really fun idea to go over to the diving boards and do some tricks off the board and kind of just have a good time. And so basically that's what we did, and we were playing there. And I really liked doing flips off the board. So I was just doing, and it was just the lowest one. It was only like a meter off the water, and it wasn't like I hadn't done it before. So we were doing flips off the board, and we were doing fine, like nothing was wrong, everything was going great. But then I went to go off the board, and I didn't jump far enough away from the board, but I still went to do a flip, and I hit my back on the board, and then I fell into the water. And so when I came up, I was crying, like I was sobbing, because I was only 10 and that really hurt, and it was my back, so that's kind of a big deal. And I was freaking, like I was like sobbing, and so my friends started freaking out, and then the instructor saw, and so everything went, like everyone started panicking, and they literally, all the lifeguards blew their whistles, and it was crazy. I couldn't get out of the water, they wouldn't let me get out of the water, so they literally brought out a stretcher, and they took me out of the water on the stretcher by putting it under my body and stuff in the water. And then they took me out, and like they had me on the side by the pool, and they were asking me a bunch of questions, like what was my name, like where do I live, who's my favorite like sibling, I don't know. They were just asking like a bunch of questions to make sure I didn't have any like issues with my head, so that I remembered everything. But I was freaking out because they wouldn't let me move because they were worried it would be like a spinal issue, or like anything to do with like my, yeah, like just the spinal cord basically. So I was not allowed to move at all, and I was freaking out because to this day I've never broken a bone, and I've never gone to the hospital for anybody in my, like I've gone to the hospital for my great grandma once, and then at that time I'd gone to the hospital for my cousin once. So like when I was 10, I'd only gone to the hospital twice, and I was freaking out because I'd never had like a big injury, and I was just really like freaking out because I didn't feel anything that was broken, but the people were acting like so concerned and stuff that something might be broken, that I was freaking out because I'm like, wait, what if my back is broken? Like, what if I can't walk? What if I get paralyzed? So my 10-year-old self was going crazy. But basically they called the hospital, which was obvious thing to do. And the ambulance, they like made me stay in that position and stuff until the ambulance came, which by the way, I was soaking wet from the pool, and it was freezing cold, so that's one thing to add to this. I was freezing cold because I wasn't allowed to move, and they couldn't really put anything on me because they were worried it would hurt me or whatever. So the hospital, like the ambulance got to the pool and stuff, and then the paramedics came in, they came rushing in, and then they came to where I was, and they started asking me a bunch of questions, and it was actually really funny because the paramedic that was talking directly to me was named Craig, and my brother's name is Craig, so that kind of helped a little bit, I think, just like having something familiar around me, because I didn't know anybody that was surrounding me, because everybody in my class had already left. Like, they obviously, like, the teacher made sure like that I was safe and stuff. Like, the paramedics got there, and then my teacher talked to them and whatever, but that the students had to go back to the school, like, so their parents could pick them up, because they couldn't just stay at the pool and wait for me to be checked and whatever, because it took a while for the ambulance to get there. So I was like by myself with like nobody I really knew. I was freaking out, but that calmed me down, because just the familiarity of him having the same name as my brother or whatever, that kind of helped me. But so basically he asked me some questions like, did my back hurt? Where did it hurt? Like, did my head feel okay? Like, did I feel dizzy? Was anything hurting anywhere else on my body? Just like basic questions. I guess you'd ask if you were worried about a spinal injury or a back injury, anything like that. But yeah, so they finally, once the paramedic checked me and he like felt to make sure I didn't have any broken bones or whatever, they finally let me get out of the little stretcher thing where I was strapped down to, and they helped me like walk over to they had like this little office for the lifeguards or whatever, so I went in there and I sat down and stuff, and they called my mom, which my mother was not happy, because, well, she wasn't mad at me, but like she was freaked out that like when they called her, she was freaked out, because she was like, obviously you don't want your kid to get injured or have to go to the hospital or something, so she was very concerned for me, because I'd never gone, like, she'd never gotten a call saying, oh, your daughter's been injured and paramedics are checking her out right now to make sure she hasn't broken anything. Like, that's kind of freaky, and she was at work, so like she had to like rush over to make sure I was okay. Well, actually my mom didn't end up getting there first. My dad got there first, and he came because the high school that I go to, he works at, but at the time, obviously I was in elementary school, but he came over from the high school, which was right next to our swimming pool. So basically, yeah, he came over, and he was freaked out too, and I was still crying because I was pretty upset because of everything that happened. It was just not something I had ever gone through, and I hope I never go through it again, because it wasn't a good experience. But basically, my dad came, they just told him what happened, they explained what happened, and like how they worked, like I didn't need to go to the hospital, but they were just doing it to make sure, and they said like if it starts hurting anymore or whatever, call, that kind of thing. So I finally got to go home, and everything was okay and whatever, but that was just, yeah, that's what happened to me when I was in grade 4 on a school trip. Yeah, if anything like that has ever happened to anybody else, like, let me know in the comment section below. I've never had that happen to me. Everyone in my class the next day, they thought it was the coolest thing, because I'd gotten talked, like, basically paramedics came, they were like, oh my gosh, like, we thought you were gonna die, like, people were 10, like, whatever, but yeah, so that was my little horror story. If you enjoyed this story time, let me know, because I'll do more. If you prefer other videos like vlogs and stuff, also let me know, like, just put it in the comment section below. And if you really like this video, feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and I hope you all have an amazing day, week, month, year, whatever, and stay awesome.